happening, WrestleRonians? It's your boy Spooky Lou. I'm so excited for this one. Very special guest, a very humble man from the land of Argentina. Can you believe it? We're going international tonight on WrestleRoni. Let me welcome to the show the one and only KUMA. How you doing, my man?
I'm really good. Thank you for inviting me to your show. I'm Kuma. I'm also known as Mario. I'm from Buenos Aires, Argentina, and I wrestle for Legión Nueva Era Argentina, a promotion down here in Buenos Aires.
Awesome. I'm so glad to have you on. You seem like a very knowledgeable man when it comes to the Argentina scene. You're in there, you're doing the thing. I've really been looking forward to this one. I'm going to put a link in the description for the awesome write up you did on Squared Circle about the history of the Argentina scene. We're going to get into that, but I want to get to know the man first. Let me ask you right out the gate, Kuma. When did you find wrestling and when did you find the love? Give me all you got. What's going on with you?
I'm a really late bloomer when it comes to wrestling.
Hmm.
I started. I'm 31, and I started actively watching wrestling when I was 26, and I started training for wrestling when I was 27.
Okay.
So I had a late start in this. But I started watching wrestling because a friend of mine recommended it to me, a friend from the United States.
Hmm.
And my first pay per view was Takeover Dallas,
Oh, okay.
and
That's how you get started.
I saw the match Nakamura versus Sami Zayn, and I fell in love. And then the next day I had WrestleMania, and I almost stopped watching.
But hey, Nakamura and Sami Zayn, that's one of my favorite matches of all time. That's one my wife even likes. So what an introduction. What was going through your mind watching that crazy match?
I knew for a fact that it's all staged and they are not trying to hurt themselves. But I was thinking, these people are trying to kill themselves.
Right.
That was the only thing on my head. When Sami Zayn went through the corner,
Hmm.
it was, oh my God, he's going to die.
That was a man. You said the next day you watched Mania and you was done with it, huh?
I watched Roman against Triple H, and I
Hmm.
was, what the fuck is this? What is all the drama?
Well, I'm glad you saw NXT first. I'm glad it steered you down this path. So you watched NXT, you watched your WWE. Did you start checking out any independents or anything else? What happened
Um,
from there?
I got really because of Nakamura. I said, where the fuck is this guy coming from? So
Hmm.
I started checking a lot of Japanese wrestling. I got into New Japan pretty early.
Hmm.
I checked some stuff from All Japan, Big Japan, and I fell in love with DDT. DDT
Okay.
is my top promotion. I love DDT wrestling.
Oh
I
man,
love it.
it's
I
fun.
love the insanity.
It's definitely a fun promotion to watch. They're still killing it. I'm happy for all those guys over there, and they're getting even more exposure here in the states. DDT is doing great, so definitely a good way to get into wrestling. So you said, so I can see the time frame you got in and everything. So how long was it until you decided, hey, this is something I'd like to try out for myself?
1 year, I started watching wrestling around April 2016, and I started training in April 2017.
Wow, wow. So are schools pretty accessible over there? How'd that come about?
To me, it was because there was a school literally around the corner
Really?
from my yes. I never knew it was there. I lived in the same place for like 20 years, and I never knew there was a wrestling school there because they didn't advertise it a lot. It was inside a building. I always thought it was abandoned.
Okay. Okay.
It- it- and one day they put a banner outside and say, "Oh, this is cool." And I didn't go train because I wanted to be a wrestler. In
Hmm.
reality, I was trying to lose some weight, and I thought sounds like something cool to do, to train and lose some weight. And I basically stumbled into wrestling on a ring with a character. I didn't plan it.
Okay. Okay. And the man who trained you, I assume he was a wrestler himself. What kind of background did he have?
I was trained in a school that is owned by a couple of brothers. They
Okay.
are like a long dynasty in Argentinian wrestling. They are the Garcilaso brothers,
Okay.
Demetrio and Leo. Demetrio is both of them have like around 40, 45 years of career of experience.
Oh wow.
They have wrestling mostly in Argentina, and Demetrio has recently did a tour in Mexico.
Oh, okay. Awesome. So they put you through hell?
Yeah, the others two, they did a little bit of basic training, and then they were more of a handoff kind of training. They give the responsibility of new ones, new trainees to the advanced students, so they learn how to teach.
Okay. I see. It's same type of deal over here, as you probably know. Yeah, though I got you. So, was it an eye opener for you? I mean, because me, I had a couple matches, and I'd watched wrestling all my life, and it's not until you hit that mat that you truly respect it. So, what was it as bad as you thought it would be, or worse?
Was pretty bad at first. I was put through my paces.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the first couple months. I did only the only thing I did was learning to how to fall
Mm-hmm.
because that's the cornerstone of all training. And surprisingly, after those 2 months of falling and learning how to fall, I had like half a month of actual technical training. And they say, "Hey, do you want to wrestle in this show we are doing for charity?" I say, okay, I will do it, but I don't have a chart, I don't have anything. So I repurposed a old piece of cosplay. I used it to do cosplay back in the day, like really back in the day, 10 years ago or more.
Uh-huh.
That was a Viking cosplay. And
Okay.
I won my first wrestling character because this school was really old school. And old school Argentinian wrestling is fucking insane. To
Yeah.
say it, to say it softly. Most characters are really strange. Like you have androids, mummies, evil gypsies. You name it and you have it. You have like insane concepts that I don't know how they came up with them. I felt like I should fit in. I'm a writer by trade. I'm a video game writer. So I thought, well, what kind of Viking I can do to make it fit in that insanity? Because in the same show we have a Native American or a Native Argentinian,
Uh,
better put, a Native Argentinian,
uh-huh.
uh, a jungleman like a Tarzan type
Okay.
with a mask, a radioactive zombie from Chernobyl, and
Nice.
a demon hunter. We have like a really weird team of roster with roster, and I decided to be a defrosted Viking.
That's
I was a
awesome.
Viking that got frozen, falling from his ship, and he landed centuries after in Argentina, and he got defrosted in a beach, and he was hired to fight in a ring for some reason. It was really fun. That first match, I was really scared. I thankfully my one of the teachers was my opponent,
Mm-hmm.
and it was pretty. I hate that match because I know what I did wrong. But to the people that doesn't really know about the industry, it seems serviceable, not good,
Right.
average at best, but it's not like a terrible train wreck like it's in my mind.
I love the imagination that goes into it and all the crazy concepts. That's something we can use plenty of over here in the States, which we do have plenty of. There's just so much that you have your Danhausens and your aliens and everything else. So God bless you guys. And that, from what I understand, that goes back to the early television wrestling over there. That you guys had crazy characters and everything. Am I correct?
Yeah, we have Argentina originally had more competitive wrestling that seemed more like the original wrestling in the United States,
Mm-hmm.
the carny wrestling. But at one point, one of the wrestlers that was really popular here, he was a Greco-Roman world champion known as Martin Cardagian. Cardagian decided, I need to make this more, how I make wrestling more popular. So
Mm-hmm.
he decided to go, instead of trying to make it like look like a competitive sport, like the New Japan does. He went for full cartoon. He went like, I want to make this for children, so I'm going to make a lot of science fiction characters and fantasy and whatever I throw to the wall and it sticks.
That's awesome.
So you have in the original, the big original show in Argentina is Titanes en el Ring, Titans of the Ring.
Hmm.
And in Carvajal was more or less a wrestler, but you had a mummy that was barely moved, never fell. It's a really weird thing to see. Imagine a fight against the Great Khali, but he's covered in cast,
Okay.
and he can move and can fall, and that's the mummy. And you have astronauts, butchers, and whatever you imagine, it might be in Titanes en el Ring. There was Genghis Khan. We had a evil heel that was Genghis Khan, and everything else. Titanes was a massive hit. It blew everything away. It became one of the most popular TV shows in its time,
Uh-huh.
and it's basically a cultural landmark in Argentina. When people think wrestling in Argentina, they think Titanes en el Ring.
Okay.
Most people.
Okay. And
It's
that's no, go ahead.
they even have movies, like full-on fictional movies with them facing, and not like WWE that they have the wrestlers act in a movie as another character. No, this was a movie with the wrestlers acting as themselves
There you go.
with
Very
a
sim-
narrative in the movie. It's insanity.
very similar to Santo and Blue Demon in Mexico. They played as themselves and they were fighting mummies and zombies and everything in lucha libre. So I dig it.
Yeah,
I would kill to see these movies subtitled. I'm not as intelligent as you to be able to speak more than one language. I would kill to see these movies subtitled somehow. I'd watch them without the subtitles.
I think there is a reporter from Fox, Ryan Satin, that does Twitch streams of all Argentine wrestling
Okay.
because he fell in love, and I think he found or he's trying to make a marathon of the Titanes in el Ring movies. He may have gotten subtitles for them.
How awesome. So, and how long did that show last?
Titanes was through the 60s through the 70s.
Okay.
By the 70s, Titanes splintered in many other groups. Different people went on their different ways and formed their own shows. Lucha Fuerte, that was more or less the same. And then you have like really, really weird stuff. Like, for example, a fully sci-fi team wrestling show with
Okay.
all the fighters being aliens, robots, and having a really weird ring that didn't have ropes. And around it, it has like barrels, or it's really weird.
Oh,
There are a couple of those matches online in really bad quality, but they're absolutely insane.
oh.
And are the best kind of insane. So bad is good.
Well, that's right up my alley. I'm telling you, I'm smiling from ear to ear just hearing about it. I could. It's just so awesome that it even happened. If I'm privileged enough to see it one day, then hell yeah, I'm all for it.
Another really weird one that
Hmm.
is worth mentioning. During the 80s, that was a second resurgence wrestling in Argentina. Uh, a toy company made a lot of toys for Rambo, thinking they will sell to the children.
Okay.
It didn't sell. So they thought, what can we do with all these Rambo toys? And they made a Rambo team wrestling show
So
with
Rambo and his
with
boys.
Rambo and his team of commandos facing a group of evil wrestling terrorists.
Oh no.
And they fought in a hexagonal ring, much like some Mexican rings or Impact.
Okay. Oh
Uh,
wow.
I, I I trained in that ring because the school I was in had that ring in the back. It's one
Wow.
of the worst places to fall in I ever fell.
Yeah.
It's like stone. There is no there is no padding. There is no how do you say this? Uh, there are no springs underneath.
Right.
It's like falling on a boulder. If
I
you
got
learn to fall in that ring, you can fall everywhere.
right.
I prefer falling in cobblestone roads than falling in that ring. That
Jeez.
bad. It's horrible.
And I've heard that's how as far as Mexico goes, they trained in boxing rings. So that's why you have a lot of the rolls and the dives and everything because it sucks to land on that ring. So that's how you get that, that bit of a different style than British or American wrestling because those rings are so hard. So you've got to adjust to preserve your body. So God bless you for that.
Argentinian wrestling, contemporary Argentinian wrestling, has a lot of Mexican influence
Hmm.
because a lot of the trainers, like the wrestlers that were big in the 80s or the 90s or even the 2000s, don't speak English, so they didn't watch a lot of WWE or indie from the United States. They watched Mexican wrestling,
Okay.
so they started to learn from it and go visit Mexico to train there. So there is a lot of schools in Argentina that have Mexican influence. A
I
lot
see.
of they teach you flips, they teach you topes suicidas, topes con hilo. I'm going to admit, I'm a big coward, and I never tried it a lot. Plus, I'm a really big guy, and nobody wants to receive me when I do a tope suicida.
I understand.
So I didn't never, I usually try to receive them rather than give them.
Well, and I've still got Rambo on my mind here. Just before we leave it too far behind us, how long did this Rambo feud with the terrorists go on? I mean,
I think the Rumble show was like 2 3 years, not really long.
they
There
milked it.
have been a lot of shows that have been like 2 3 years and they disappear, they vanish, and the same wrestlers appear in the next show because there is a lot of community between Argentinian wrestlers.
Hmm.
Only recently they have been like more split apart, but before they were all part of the same big family because all of them came from Titanes and their teachers came from Titanes,
Right.
and they started to split apart into different groups and different promotions and different schools.
Hmm.
Some of them died out with the trainers because it happened a long time ago,
Hmm.
and some new ones appeared in the early 2000s. We had the other big show in Argentina that was 100% lucha, 100% lucha, 100% wrestling.
Oh, okay.
100% lucha was like a little bit update from Titanos. It wasn't as insane,
Hmm.
but it was pretty insane. Like you had a bus driver wrestling, you had a man dog, a guy that entered with a couple of animal control guys pulling him from
Okay.
a mask.
Okay.
You have a demon, but most of the popular wrestlers were more or less regular guys. You have the big face, the Vicente Villoni, was a rocker dude. He entered with a leather jacket. He had long hair, metal hair, and he entered the ring with a motorcycle with a Harley. He
Oh,
was
okay.
like the big face, and the big heel was a huge masked wrestler known like La Masa, like the mask. He was
Okay.
he is a big guy, and they had like epic matches. Everyone was watching. They even had a couple of movies. They filled theaters everywhere. They did a lot of tours. And 100% Lucha lasted like 7 seasons. It had like 200 episodes. It was really popular. At that moment, it was huge in Argentina.
It
Many
even
of the current many of the current wrestlers right now in the scene
mhm.
grew up watching 100% Lucha.
Okay. And it got so popular, it even attracted the attention of the WWE for one reason or another. I've heard varying stories, but didn't.
Yes, there was a rumor going around that Shane McMahon came to visit the producers of the show. There's even a photo around.
Mhm.
I know it from a first source because one of the wrestlers in 100% Lucha is the son of one of my trainers. And
Okay.
when he came to visit to the school, he showed us the photo with Shane.
Wow.
It was pretty wild.
That's crazy. Hey, he's not doing anything. Shane, get down to Argentina, drop down some money, and get us some Argentina wrestling worldwide. What are you doing right now, Shane? You ain't doing nothing. I know you're listening. Shane McMahon needs to come back to Argentina and finish up his business, if you ask me.
Well, after 100% Lucha, much like Titanes, the different members of the show splintered into their own schools. Some retired, some opened their own training schools, some opened their own promotions, uh, and that was the scene for like 10 years.
Okay.
And suddenly, by the end of the 2010s, uh, a lot of small schools with a lot of really young talent started to make a lot of noise
Okay.
because there were a lot of people that were not only fans of 100% Lucha, but they also were fans of WWE because in that period after 100% Lucha,
Mm-hmm.
some channels started showing the double versions of WWE
Oh.
in the television in Argentina.
Oh,
Before
so
it was really hard to get it, but in the last during the last decade, it it became it was in any television Argentina could get that version of WWE, the one with the Mexican announcers,
oh
and that
wow.
made a lot of people watch WWE and get invested and want to train, and they went to the schools of all these people that were or former Titans del Ring or former 100% Lucha, and a couple were former both Titanes del Ring and 100% Lucha.
How?
There was some old timers in 100% Lucha,
Uh-huh.
and they trained in those schools. They learned old school wrestling, but they wanted to do more in American indie wrestling or big pro wrestling shows.
Mm-hmm.
So they started to alter the school they were in or to form their own groups.
I see.
And that's where we are right now. We have a bunch of small groups, some supported by older wrestlers, some supported by themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and all of them are nobody is living from wrestling in Argentina.
Right.
Some are getting paid, but most are doing for the love of the discipline
Right. Okay. So it
or
was
to make a highlight reel.
right. There you go. And so it wasn't until the 2010s that WWE was actually on television in Argentina.
Like late 90s, early 2010s. They started to
Wow.
have like active WWE on every house because before you could get it in cable TV, but
Okay.
not in regular TV.
Gotcha.
I don't know that. Here we call it televisión de aire, like air TV, like because it's the airwaves. But
Gotcha.
but I don't know what's the term in English.
Eh,
Every house,
hmm Over here, it's
you
antenna TV, which is pretty much to the wayside. Over here, you have to have cable TV. I don't do cable. I get everything off the internet, and thank God for the internet.
yeah. Well, the internet also opened a door to a lot of young fans that knew English, learned English in school, and could watch indie wrestling or could watch other stuff that have English translation or subtitles like New Japan
Uh-huh.
that you can get. And they learn from that. And a lot of people started to get a lot of influence from different places, and everything went into like a melting pot of young talent trying to find their own style and their own preference in the ring, instead
Okay.
of just following the old school of wrestling. That
And,
is, I'm going to say, all Argentine wrestling is methodical, but
okay.
that's like the good word for it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's not bad, but by any means, there are a lot of great matches in that a lot of wrestlers did.
Mm-hmm.
But for current audiences, especially for wrestling savvy audiences,
Mm-hmm.
it looks like really slow,
But
really slow.
I can
So more
no,
yes,
I can see what you're saying on that. But I've been watching here and there, and I especially watched a few matches today to prep for the interview, and you can see the WWE influence, and you can see the New Japan influence just depending. It can be the same federation, but just depending on the workers. Today, there was a home invasion angle on the match I watched. The guy went into the person's house and confronted his mother. So then that
Oh,
guy
Catch
came.
Argentino, yes, yes, that was so fucking fun. The Catch Argentino, that was J Master feuding with Wildcat Brooks.
Yep, yep. And that was
Wildcat,
awesome.
Wildcat is such a great heel because his strong point is that he has perfect English, not like mine. I have service about English. He talks like fluid English, native English, and he plays the big bad North American heel that comes to Argentina and is here to bully all the young talent in Argentina. He's amazing,
Yep,
and J Master is really young and really talented.
yep,
He even was the champion at the time
yep.
for Catch Argentino, one of the promotions.
Hmm.
I think he's 19 years old, and he's
Wow.
amazing in the ring.
There's a lot of talented guys over there. You guys, I really hope keep doing your thing regardless, and I know that you will. But I really hope more eyes get on the Argentina scene. I'd met you in Discord probably a year ago, and you had opened my eyes to it, posting some matches in my Discord, and it. I don't want to say it wasn't what I expected. It was different. Like I say, every match is different, and you can tell everybody's giving 110%, and it really blows my mind for a bunch of people. Yeah, you had your TV here and there, but over here, like WWE is so part of the culture. I understand why people are so passionate about pro wrestling. There's a strong love for wrestling over there, and you guys didn't have the exposure we did. So my hat's off to you guys.
The different styles are really noticeable right now because we have, like you say, depending on the talent, you have different styles of matches. For
Hmm.
example, in Legion Argentina, the one I'm wrestling in, one of our longer reigning champions was a wrestler named Pandemia.
Okay. Yep.
Pandemic. Pandemia is a big Noah fan. He thinks wrestling should be two guys, as simple as two guys stepping on a ring and trying to kill each other for real.
Okay.
He's going to chop your chest bread. He's going to do any move that is going to possibly destroy your neck if you take it bad, if you take it wrong. He's going to really put everything on the match to make it look like it's a real competition. And in the same promotion, you have one of the founders of the promotion, Francisco Rolon, who is big into comedy wrestling.
Okay.
And he's really talented at it. He's really fun making inventive spots. For example, in one of your recent shows, we did a show for in Buenos Aires, but in the suburbs, that is called a place called Merlo, and we did a show for the Children's Day because it's big in Argentina for wrestling promotions. It's
Hmm.
like a big season, winter holidays, and the Children's Day is in mid-August. It's a big day to make shows. And we made a show there, and Brian and Francisco Rolon was fighting alongside one of the students of the dojo against one of our big teams that is Seccional La Plata. And they they started wrestling like usual. At one point, Rolon put the student over his shoulder, and the other guy put his tag team partner over the shoulder, and they started slap fighting over each other's shoulder. It was hilarious. And you
Oh,
have everything in between. You have people that go more to extremes. Like we had a death match in Legion, Lucha Extrema, another promotion, had also a really strong hardcore match.
okay.
You have people that go comedic. They go like more New Japan, more American. They like big stories. Some don't like to do anything story related and just like to wrestle. So each show has a lot of variety.
Right, and you'd mentioned there was a death match. I'm assuming they're few and far between, but Are we talking when we have a death match? Are we breaking out the barbed wire, light bulbs? Explain a typical Argentina death match to me.
The last time we had one of the last like dead match we had was the one of the wrestlers I mentioned, Francisco Rolon. Francisco Rolon had a grudge match against another wrestler that is called Johnny Fox,
Okay.
and they beat each other really hard. They broke neon tubes, light tubes. They used barbed wire. They used the how do you call this in English? The wooden packing, the platforms you use to pack stuff, like big wooden platforms with
Okay. A
crosses.
scaffold?
More or less like a scaffold, but the ones that are going at the bottom of boxes, of large boxes, and packed in like in a
Oh, okay.
supermarket.
Pallets.
They were well pallets, yeah.
Okay.
Wooden. They fell from the rope to a wooden pallet and broke it.
Oh,
They
wow.
bled everywhere. Like they started uh, smashing their heads with light tubes in a series of explosions of glass and blood everywhere. It was a mess to clean. We can also have like a hardcore match, not like a death match, with Johnny Fox again and Michael when he was the champion. Michael is another awesome wrestler here in Legion Argentina.
Hmm.
They kick they beat themselves up through the whole venue. They fell into tables, broke tables. Michael at one point started hitting Johnny Fox with keyboards,
Oh,
with
wow.
all like really old thick computer keyboards with the keys flying everywhere. Everyone was going mental. It was really fun. They are far in between, but when they are dead matches. They are not like, oh, there's a little dot here, there's a weapon here. No, they go like all out.
I gotcha. And how do the fans react to something like that? Because I'm sure there's no exposure to death matches over there. So how's your typical fan react to something like that? Are they excited and cheering, or are they scared to death?
Depends a lot on the promotion because each promotion has their own type of crowd.
Okay.
Legion Nueva is the most smarky crowd. They know wrestling. They are fans of wrestling. They are fans of indie wrestling. So they pop for everything. They are like they are an integral part of the experience in the shows.
Nice.
Other promotions may have this, but the matches aren't as common. So most promotions have a mix and match from people who is in the know and children and casual fans that are not really big into wrestling.
I see.
Catch Argentino recently has a stronger crowd, but all other places have like may have bigger crowds, but more or less they are because the events are not self-contained in their own like if the people doesn't come to the show to watch wrestling, they come to an event like a festival or a fair, and
Sure.
wrestling is in there, and you can watch it, but you don't go to watch wrestling.
Same
Mm,
deal over here. Same
mm,
it's same deal over here. You're gonna have your shows that the indie fans are gonna seek out. That you might have 30 people, and then you might have a show with thousands of people, but nobody knows what wrestling's all about. They don't know about the good guys, bad guys, heels, faces, etc., and all that. So, yeah, I definitely get that vibe. It, it's just
For example,
it's crazy to me. Go ahead.
Legion started like that. We had like 50 people at best.
Hmm.
And we have been building since the Legion started in 2018.
Okay.
And from that point on, it grew. We had the quarantine, the lockdown in the middle, and during the lockdown, we recorded shows and we put them in YouTube. We
Hmm.
always put our shows in YouTube, but during the lockdown, we did a couple of shows in without audience, and that started to getting some attention. And then when we went back to shows with crowds, we got more people to the point we had to move venues, and
Okay.
we moved from our original venue. There was a small club in one of the neighborhoods of Capital Federal, of the capital of Buenos Aires and the
Okay.
capital of Argentina, and we had to move to a bigger theater that is called Theater Mandril. It's not like a monkey, yes. the Mandrill. uh, and that in that theater we packed the first show. We packed 150 people,
Hell yeah.
and we had to kick people out because we couldn't close the venue from how many people got in. And the following shows this year in Madrid were like that, were like 150 and or more. So we even have to move venues again. And one of the latest show we did that was the theater. We have both main events, main shows for the main roster, and we have shows called dojo show, like dojo from our training school that is focused on the on making the new guys debut, making their debut, and their first matches, so they gain experience. They either wrestle each other or they wrestle against older, more experienced wrestlers in the company.
Okay.
This new show, the third one, we did it on a small football field, and we packed the place with like 200 people.
Okay. Heck
So
yeah.
it has been growing. There are other promotions that have bigger crowds because they do like an event for a city, and the mayor hire the crew. But that's because all the city is coming because there is a fair and this event. But the Legion is the one with the biggest crowd that is composed by fans. They are fans of wrestling and they are fans of Legion.
That's awesome.
We have some fan favorites for the crowd. Like one of our favorite stables is Conurbardo, that is composed by 3 really talented wrestlers that are Frankie the Grand, Theo Griffin, and Cassidy. They are amazing in the ring, and they are like the biggest babyface there are.
Okay.
They are awesome. And then we have stuff like CLS. CLS is CLS is a faction composed by 4 wrestlers who train in the same school as I did, Colosos de la Lucha. That's why it's CLS for Colossus.
Okay.
And two of them are active wrestlers in Legion, and the other 2 are active in Catch Argentino. And Legion and Catch Argentino, that is another promotion, have a lot of crossovers.
Okay.
We have people from their side wrestling in our shows. The last show, the dojo show, had an invasion from one of the wrestlers, a cool guy called Travis Wick. He came with his manager, and he attacked Francisco Rolón when he was going intermission between matches to talk to the audience and to do a contest for the audience to get some prizes.
Okay.
And while some people of Legion wrestled in catch, I wrestled a match in catch when they did a tournament. It was really fun. There was a tournament during lockdown without audience, and it was more like we filmed the whole show in one day. The only problem was that was in the middle of summer, and we have really hot summers here. That was a particular hot one, and the ring was exposed directly under the sun.
Oh.
The mat was on fire. Nobody wanted to fall because the mat was fire. Everyone left with sunburn. We entered all white and we left red, crimson.
And it's almost like you read my mind, because the next thing I was going to ask you, it was about the culture between different promotions. And you pretty much answered it, but let's clarify things. Do you have wrestlers that stick to one promotion, or do you have, like, if you work for promotion A, there's no way you're working for promotion B? Is there promotions that dislike each other that much, where if you're working here, you're definitely not working there? Elaborate on that for me a little bit.
Depends on the leadership.
Right.
Some promotions are like have an open down policy. If you want to wrestle here, come. If we want you, you will wrestle. If you are interesting enough, if you are popular enough, if you know people inside and they vote for you, you will have a match. Okay. And so other promotions are more like either really tight knit and they like wrestling with each other and they don't like people from outside to join, or promotions that are connected to a school, and you have to be part of that school to wrestle in that show. Okay. The shows are more a showcase of what they learn in the academy than anything else.
Sure. Okay. I respect it. I get it. I dig it.
And there are other promotions that are not really promotions in the sense they have a roster. They have a name, they have a ring, and they have like 2 or 3 active wrestlers. And most of the shows are made with hiring wrestlers from other places or inviting them to wrestle there.
Okay, I get it. Okay, and how many there's how many promotions do you guys have going on? As far as yeah, just an approximate, how many promotions would you think are going on in Argentina right now?
Okay, you mentioned the article I made for Square Circle. That
Hmm.
article is a little bit outdated because it was like in the midst of the pandemic and
Yeah.
a lot of schools were closed. Right now we have Legión Argentina,
Hmm.
Catch Argentino, Duelo de Leyendas, Lucha Extrema, Superestrellas de la Lucha, Master Catch, Power Catch, La Masa y sus luchadores, Super Gigantes del Catch. I think that's all. Like 10 active promotions. I might be missing a couple. There
Right.
are some that are like they form only for holidays and for special events. They aren't active all the time. Like for
Okay.
example, Por Siempre Lucha is one that it forms once or twice a year for like short tours, and then it disbands, and everyone goes back to their own promotions, their own work.
Okay. How cool. So some of them are kind of
And
seasonal.
most of the promotions are focused on Buenos Aires, in the capital, because Argentina has a very serious problem that everything is centralized on the capital. The capital city has more population than half the country.
Ah. Okay.
It's a mess. I think like we are right now we have like the capital city and the surrounding area. It has around like 12 million people or
Wow.
something like that.
Wow.
It has more population than certain countries. That's the insane idea of Buenos Aires.
I
It's
see.
a massive city that is basically is a chimera of cities. It has a big city and a lot of smaller that are stick together because they grew from the bigger city and splurged all over the place.
Okay. Okay.
There are a couple of smaller promotions outside the Buenos Aires. There is one in Santa Fe that is one of the provinces, and Super Gigante del Catch that I mentioned is in a province to the south in Patagonia. That is a colder region to the south of Argentina.
Okay. And it sounds like you guys kind of bounced back after the pandemic, as far as wrestling goes, at least. That because, like you said, during the pandemic, I mean, it shut down stuff over here, of course. But it sounds like you guys are bouncing back nicely, and I mean, there's some promotions. It seems like a lot of things are going on. Am I right?
Yeah, I forgot. Recently, another promotion started. It's been their first show. They have been training for a while, and it's Argentina Selection Wrestling. That's the name. They had their first show. A couple of guys from Legion fought in their show.
Mm-hmm.
It was. I need to find the clip because it's really funny. Uh, Obviously the kind of thing that happens in the first show with a untested ring. A big guy, bigger than me, and I'm relatively big for the scene because the scene is mostly the current scene is mostly cruiserweight. I'm
Right.
like really big. I look really big because most people look a little bit smaller.
I
a,
gotcha.
a bigger guy than me went to the ropes and the rope snapped and
Oh
he
no.
went overboard in the first show.
Oh no.
It was funny. It's okay
Okay.
because that's why it's funny. If it wasn't okay, it wouldn't be funny. But
Right.
it happens to every ring. During the pandemic, there was a particular event, a kickboxing champion in Argentina that did boxing and kickboxing like for real.
Hmm.
He decided to form his own wrestling promotion. He
Oh.
saw a lot of talent in Argentina, and he hired the 2 biggest stars from 100% Lucha, Vicente Vironi and La Masa, who weren't in the best of terms after 100% Lucha, but he hired them to make a casting to bring people from all promotions to make a big promotion. I was in the casting. I went mostly to see what happened and to support a couple of friends who had more chances to be in there.
Uh-huh.
And the ring, the first match in the casting matches, the first rope snapped.
Oh man.
Every in Legion in the show, one of the shows you saw, the one I fought with Michael, was the first show after the pandemic, and was the first time we used that ring in a show, because we got the ring just before the pandemic and never got to use it. It was really sad to have one full year of lockdown with the ring in a locked away. Nobody could even train on it. And when we tested the ring that show, and it started to fall apart. It's like you can see you can hear in the video in one of the tag matches that there are pieces of the ring falling under it.
Oh,
we
wow.
were all in a panic. But after that, the ring, we more or less fixed the ring and it worked. And all promotions are done in Argentina are worked with mostly money from the people involved who want to wrestle, who want to train, who want to show their skills, who want to make shows and entertain people. And most people put their own money, their own blood and tears and sweat into the promotions. A lot of stuff is made with passion more than money.
Oh, yeah. I was just getting ready to say, you can tell there's a lot of love that goes into it. It sounds like all you guys are really looking out for each other. Is that how it is backstage? Everybody gets along, and it's just a mutual love of pro wrestling.
Always in every group there is conflict because that's the human nature. But
Okay.
most promotions are pretty solid inside out. So the backstage we always try to keep everyone safe. The first job in the ring is to collaborate and to make a good job. Our second job is to protect the other wrestler, so everyone gets to shine and everyone leaves walking.
Gotcha. So it doesn't sound like there's any shady promoters or anything. And like you say, it's human nature. Everybody wants to be the best. There's going to be egos, especially if you believe you're the best. So that's good. No screwy promoters leaving town or anything crazy like that.
Uh, I, I, like I said before, most of the promotions don't pay from the get go. We know that we enter we go and wrestle in our home promotion, more or less,
Right.
because of we love wrestling and we want to be part of it. But from what I know, most of the promoters that pay,
Hmm.
they pay up. They say, I'm going to pay you this amount for a match in this place. You go there, you have a show, and you get paid. We had during holidays, we had a couple of guys from Legion fought in a couple of promotions that did big shows for cities a little bit outside Buenos Aires, and they got paid. Even the new guys, even the really new guys that were from the Ordosho, they went, they had great matches and got paid.
Awesome. You guys are doing it right, man. I'm so happy for you. It's like I say, I've watched the matches. They're good matches. Nothing but positive things I can say from the outside looking in, so to speak. Does as far as wrestlers, is there any merchandise, T-shirts, magnets, stickers, anything like that going on, trying to make a dollar?
Merch, it has become something brand new here. We didn't have a lot of merch in the indie scene. The 100% de Lucha, Titanes and Ring, they had like full-on merchandising machines. They sold everything. But in the current scene, not everyone did merch. We recently started to have merch, to have T-shirts, because we have now we have a audience that we buy it. They don't come to the show because the show is in the same place as another event. They come to the show to see their wrestlers.
Okay.
So they are starting to have. Recently I bought one of the shirts of one of my fellow wrestlers because it's a really cool design. We are slowly working our ways towards that. To send the t-shirts outside Argentina is really complicated right now. Well, it has been already complicated, but we've got a lot of custom office issues. A lot of stuff like disappears into the either if we try to send it outside Argentina.
I got you.
So if you want official Argentina merch, most likely you need to come to Argentina, watch a show, and buy it from a wrestler there rather than get it from a online site or something else.
Right on.
Because even with a lot of younger wrestlers that are more tech savvy and that have more social media presence,
Hmm.
we are still we need to go a couple steps forward when it comes to fully embracing technology. We're uploading the shows to YouTube. Some promotions are even live streaming them on Twitch.
Awesome.
But we have started using technology to improve our reach, but we need to go step further beyond.
But
The, Argentina wrestling as a whole, I think, is on the edge of something great.
I,
There is a lot of talent that are really really young and have a lot of years ahead of them.
okay.
Most of them want to showcase their talent. Most of them are really invested in wrestling. Some are really planning to go outside Argentina. We already have some young talent from this generation that fight outside Argentina in the Latin American circuit that is a lot more developed than Argentina. For example, Chile. Chile has a huge wrestling scene,
Okay.
like amazingly big. And a couple of people from Argentina go to Chile to have a couple of shows and then come back with experience and knowing new stuff and having contact. And some stay there. We have recently in Legion, one of the international wrestlers that was invited is a guy called Lucio. Lucio wrestled a whole bunch in Chile. He's mainly wrestling in Chile, and he came to Argentina to visit family and everything. And he ended up in Legion because he wrestled in Legion when Legion started back in the day.
Okay.
Or early this year, we had a wrestler from Norway that came because he's from Argentina and his family moved to Norway. He trained in Norway and he came here to visit family, and he found out there was wrestling in Argentina and he wanted to wrestle during his holiday, and we invited him to Legion and he had an amazing match.
Yeah.
One of the really cool things in Argentina wrestling is many times in other places when the people from outside come, they are the heels. Here we receive them like they were our own. We have
Okay.
we have Chilean wrestlers in Argentina, and we embrace them like they were bigger faces than our faces. This guy, the one from Norway, Rayo Flores,
Hmm.
he got a proper welcome to Argentina when he entered our show, and the crowd went insane for him. And he
Good.
also really broke himself in the ring. He was an amazing wrestler, and everyone was popping like crazy for anything he did. He did an amazing tope con hilo and landed standing. Everyone felt like bowling pins, and he landed clean, and everyone went mad.
That's awesome. That is awesome. What would to the American viewers, give me a few names over there, a few wrestlers that you think we should be keeping our eyes on.
Well, Pandemia is one of them with his whole group CLS, Pandemia, Exodus, Fulgas, and Hunter. And recently they added J Master, who is another amazing talent to check.
Okay.
Pandemia is, like I said, big on all Japan, Noah. He likes like really intense physical matches. If you
Okay.
want a high flyer, the best two high flyers in Argentina are Chuck Dixon, who is a cocky heel and really talented. He pulls 450 splash like it was easy. You watch him do it, and it's, I think I can do it. You try and you you thought that yourself. And the other one is Cassidy, who is another level of intensity. Cassidy is a middle point between really good high flying and intensity like Pandemia. Cassidy hits like a truck, flies um, incredibly well. Then, if you want other wrestlers to check out, there is, for example, I'm thinking from different promotions. In Catch Argentino, you have Wildcard Brooks. Mike the Wildcat Rooks, who is
Okay.
a really strong heel. His wrestling isn't like really flashy, but he's a really good character. He's on the line of MJF and that kind of old school heel, but with a modern twist. There is also Travis Wick with a pretty good mix of high flying and intensity. He's more or less like an Argentinian Darby Allen.
Okay. Okay. That's awesome.
Uh, then, for example, from Duelo de Leyendas, there is Bobby Cruz, who is a really good all-rounder. He can fly, he can wrestler, he can do locks. He's pretty solid.
Okay.
Argentina Selection Wrestling has Django. Django is a little bit older than the current crop of new talent, but he's really talented and he was part of the WWE. The WWE has a casting call in Latin America, and he was one of the two Argentinian wrestlers that was in that casting call. That he was allowed to participate in the training camp.
Oh,
He's
okay.
pretty cool. Then if you are like a big host wrestler, the best one here is Guido el Demoledor. Guido is a, a massive a massive wrestler. He's like how do you call it? A demolition ball, a breaking ball
Okay. Okay.
in human form. His pop up power bombs are a thing of legend, and the terror of every ring he's in. Because every ring battles. If you like comedy wrestling, you have Francisco Rolon. There are also a really fun tag team called the Brody Lobbies. There are two masked wrestlers that are really big on comedy.
Okay.
Platino and Sinistro. They are amazing. Platino enters to every show with a song from Luis Miguel, a Mexican songwriter. The crowd loves him.
Okay.
Then who else? I'm trying to think about anybody else. And there is a couple of wrestlers that are in the Mexican scene, from Argentina. Hip Hop Man and Mosca, who are wrestling different promotions around Mexico. They are pretty talented themselves. They are around 30, 40 years old. They have a career. They were a former 100% Lucha member.
Oh, okay.
Hip Hop recently came to Argentina and did a tour from every promotion in Argentina to meet people, to get people invested in their shows.
Okay.
And he's going to Mexico soon. And apart from that, I'm missing somebody. But there is a lot of people. There are a lot of good strikers. Another excellent wrestler is Theo Griffin. Theo Griffin is amazing. He has the whole package. He can fly. He has the best German suplex in Argentina.
Okay.
The best German suplex in Argentina. He's a machine. And his finisher is a really cool spear. He twists in the air when he does a spear and lands backward. I don't know how he does it, but he has charisma from every part of his body. Everyone loves him. Everyone he enters the ring, everyone is on his side. Everyone is on Theo's corner if he enters the ring.
Okay. And it still blows my mind the character work and the characters, because you said there was a popular show in the 70s and everything. It just blows my mind the character work you guys are doing without that WWE influence in all these homes. I know you guys had
No,
internet and everything, but it just seems to me in the States and anywhere else, character work is just second nature because it's been drilled in our heads for years. And some of the character work you guys are doing over there, the backstage stuff, or in ring, coming to the ring, whatever, it must be naturally there. It's crazy to me.
there is a lot of talent and there is a lot of thought put behind a lot of our characters. We have there is a lot of there is a big spectrum of different characters that go from like regular people like wrestlers that go to wrestle, like Pandemia, for example. A, his main character trait is that he's really good at wrestling.
Well,
That he's really good at wrestling. He's going to put every ounce of intensity he has on a match, and
okay.
he's going to he has recently he has been developing more and more thanks to being in a group. So he has a little bit more of people to bounce back. And then you have from the on the other point of the street, you have people that are really strong into character. They have like their main focus is making their character and their stories
Mm-hmm.
blossom. Like for example, the one of the members of Conurbardo, yeah, I mentioned them before, Frankie Legrand. Frankie Legrand is a really good wrestler, but has a lot of charisma, has a lot of nice skills, and he has a lot of ability to tell a story in the ring.
Okay.
He had a really good rivalry against Cassidy, who is current member of Conurbardo, and across the last year, and they had blistering star match last year in the Halloween event in Legion.
Okay.
They did everything they could, and they even did callbacks to all matches they had in other promotions.
Awesome. I remember that Halloween event. I remember being excited for it and it exceeding my expectations. Yeah, that was a good show. So when you guys were training, now of course you go through the fundamentals and everything, but over here, they a lot of the trainers instill into you how to tell a story and the psychology of a crowd. Is that something that was instilled in training, or you guys just kind of pick up along the way, or pick up here or there?
Most wrestlers pick it up here and there. Some schools have promo classes or try to teach them how to make a character.
Okay.
Most newer schools tend to do that because they have people who have learned that from by themselves and want to other people to learn easier and to be better than them. But
Okay.
all style schools like more Titanes and Rain schools are more focused on the really basics like heel and face, técnico and rudo.
Sure.
They need you are if you are the good guy you are going to do this. You are going to get your ass kicked for 2 thirds of the match, and at the end you are going to win because you are the good guy. And the bad guy is going need to be like really bad, need to shout obscenities to the crowd, needs to slap around the good guy, and then fail at the end. That's like the basic model of Titans in a ring match.
Well,
The good
sure.
guy gets his ass handed to him right at the last second, then he wins.
Makes sense to
And
me. It's a tried and
mostly
tested formula.
most of the matches in all school promotions tend to follow that track. Rarely you see a bad guy winning because most of those shows are done to for children and they want to give the children like a good guy victory.
Gotcha.
So everyone goes home happy. In newer promotions, there is more nuance, there are more stories, there are more development, there are long-running stories. For example, recently, a Uruguayan YouTuber called Tapstar did a whole story about one of the longest-running narratives in Legion Nueva Era, which was Pandemia chasing the title against another wrestler called Federico Monzoni.
Okay.
It was a 1 year long story across several events with twists and turns, with stables being formed, with friendships ruined, with people losing their place in the roster. It was a long burn that ended in Pandemia versus Federico Monzoni, which was many call it one of the best matches in Argentina. Pandemia and other wrestlers at the moment were like really hyped, and then the hype got a little bit lower with the years, but it's still a really intense match, a really good match. I was there and I could still feel each chop in my own chest from like 30 meters away. But it was I think that match in particular was like a paradigm shift in Argentinian wrestling. Maybe the people involved may say I'm being a little bit, I'm overblowing it, but from my point of view, because I entered wrestling really late, especially in the Argentinian circuit, I entered Legion roughly 6 months before the match.
Uh huh.
But at that point, I saw like the audience shifted from going to see wrestling to be invested into the story,
Right.
and that has been going around increasingly in other schools and in Legion from that point onward. After the lockdown, a lot of long-running stories or stories that have been going from before the lockdown have been developing by the wrestler and expanding and including more people and having different uh, important milestones and events. Michael, who was one of the champions of the Legion, has his own story until he got the title, and then he has his defenses, and now he lost his title, and his character did a shift from being like this really intense striker. He's like he's around 6 feet 10, 6 feet 11, like really tall and really lanky. He's
Okay.
really slender, but he packs up a kick. Kicks like a mule. A mule. I know it from experience.
Okay.
Michael lost his belt on a really, really, really contested loss against Ricky Roca, one of our best heels. And Michael is now depressed. His character is depressed. He doesn't want to wrestle. When he wrestles, he's like a half energy. He goes off the ring. In the last match he went off the ring and sat in the apron. He was like the image of Sad Keanu Reeves, the meme.
Okay.
And then when the people started to support him, he got really into it again, but he fell short at the end,
I
and
see.
he's still depressed. And it's really great because in many other promotions in the past, when you had a character, that character remained the same forever. You were a good guy. You will be a good way for 10, 20 years.
Oh.
There are still wrestlers, all wrestlers are active, that they have the character from the show that they did in TV 20 years ago, or 30 or 40, and they didn't change that character. That
Okay.
character stays the same.
Huh.
But right now, what modern wrestling in Argentina is change, versatility, fluidity. Every wrestler can change. Some started heel, go face, go heel, go twinner. They are twinners. We never had like twinners before.
I
At
see.
least not established everywhere. And it's slowly sipping into different promotions and changing how its scene is going from the old traditional way to a more modern way that it still has some of those bizarre ancient elements from wrestling, but has influence, like I said, from Japan, from Mexico, from WWE, from the Indies. There
Mhm.
is a lot of indie influence around, to the point that it's here also in Argentina in several promotions. The Canadian Destroyer also became like a joke because everyone uses it.
I see. So,
It's,
and
uh, uh,
it
it's
sounds
the joke is the Canadian Destroyer in the first minute. It's the
okay.
Canadian
Okay.
Destroyer.
And it sounds like that things are evolving as far as characters, stories, things like that. What about the fans? Yeah, I know you mentioned there's a lot of smart fans that follow wrestling on the internet and everything, but I can imagine that you're going to run into instances where these fans believe it hook, line, and sinker. Have you run into instances where people were really pissed off and we almost had a riot on our hands, or fans trying to rush the
No,
ring, or no?
we uh, we never got to a point of for people that thought we are doing it for real. No,
Okay.
we didn't know. We never got to that point. We never got point to. We have gotten to a point from crowds being really hostile against heels
Okay.
because we have been working on stories that make the heels look really bad. I know it from experience because I have been getting bullied a lot lately because I have been going like full heel.
Okay.
But we never had like an incident with the audience. The audience is great. Most of the audience either knows knows the rules of wrestling, knows everything, or is composed by casual fans that come and know that they don't have to jump the barricade and start a mess or start a riot.
Well, good for you
And we are a
guys.
really we are a really riot prone nation.
Right.
I'm not going to lie. Like every time a football team wins something, we destroy parts of downtown.
Uh huh.
That's common in Argentina, but in wrestling, I haven't seen it a full blown riot or even the tiny riot.
Well, that hey, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. It sounds like you have the fans right where you want them without them getting too rowdy and too crazy. Because believe me, here in West Virginia, as of just what 10 years ago, I was working security because here in West Virginia they believed it was real and they were trying to throwing stuff at the ring and crazy stuff. So hey, be happy with where those fans are at. That's awesome. That's good because it can get crazy. And again, I'm super impressed, especially with you saying that WWE was never on TV. You guys should be so proud of yourselves to what you're presenting. I know, it was on, but it wasn't as mainstream there as it has been in other areas. So you guys should be really proud of what you're doing. It sounds like there's a lot of love that goes into it. You're telling me people aren't worried. They're working on merchandise to try to make a dollar here and there, but it's not the top priority. The top priority is the love of the game. So that's really good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's it has its up and down. There are some rough spots, but the wrestling scene is going past some old grudges from different groups, from all the I don't want to say rivalries, but most people right now are more focused on doing great shows than worrying about other promotions. In fact, we're trying to make there are a lot of connection between promotions that never happened before because
okay.
before it was more there was more isolationism between promotions.
Right. Right. Yeah, and that still happens here in the states. Believe me, that still happens here. Your bigger feds like your GCWs and everything, you're gonna have guys working here and there, but there's still rivalries. And if you work for this guy, you're not working for me, and that stuff. That's gonna happen. Like we said, it's human nature. But it sounds like things are definitely heading in the right direction. What about backstage? It sounds like you guys have a lot of camaraderie and everybody gets along. You have any crazy backstage fun stories for me or anything like that?
Now, in backstage, most people in backstage are where it are really focused on our match because we are allowed to wrestle.
Hmm.
Because we really try to do it like on the day. Most of the because it's a good practice if you are going to go anywhere else. You don't have time like to practice the match in the gym, in the ring, in the academy for hours. So it's good to have the practice of making the match in the day. So
Okay.
everyone is really focused on that. And after that, we laugh a lot. We fuck around. We most people go, even all wrestlers go early to help carry the ring to the venue.
Oh well.
We load the ring. Some people go to the venue because it's closer to the house, and we everyone helps to set the ring. Everyone, from the champion to the low carder to the people in the academy to the staff, everyone gives a hand to make sure the ring is up for the right time. And then when we leave, some try to stay, others can't because we leave. Everyone lives a little bit apart. Some people leave early to get to the house before most public transportation goes there,
Okay.
and some others stay and uh, I'm trying to find the word in English and I'm missing one. They disassemble the ring
Okay.
and go take it back to the training gym. So everyone gives a hand. There is a lot of collaboration on each promotion, and even when people from other promotions come to watch, a couple of times they even helped with the ring. And
Wow.
when we go to watch, a couple of times we help with the ring. It's a very we know what is needed to do with the stuff, so we understand we need to help when we can, and the other people know. Yeah, we could give a hand to set the ring up because we come to see a show.
That's awesome. That's straight up heartwarming. I can't even. That's just no other words for it. That's heartwarming. You saying even the top guy helping set up the ring. That's awesome. And guys from other promotions just there to watch, helping and everything. That you guys are on the right track. I couldn't be happier for you. And I appreciate your time. I've kept you for shoot an hour 15 minutes. I don't see any way I can trim it down because every word you've given me has been gold. I hope to have you back on. Before I let you enjoy your life and get back to your life, is there anything else you would like the folks listening here on YouTube, anything else you'd like for them to know about the scene or anything before I let you go?
Not just from the scene, but from everywhere else. I have been I have been following different scenes in wrestling around the world from
Mm-hmm.
places that you don't think there is wrestling there, but there is. And there
Mm-hmm.
is a lot of talent, not just in Argentina, but everywhere in the world. And
Yep.
it's good to see how other people take what comes from outside and reshape it to the culture and to their own cultural identity and their own uh, audience, because it's good to see how it can mutate, how it can change, how it can do different stuff that you didn't think it could do.
Yep.
So my big takeaway from all this is go and see wrestling from places you don't think there is wrestling, because maybe you will find your new favorite promotion. I have been following an Italian promotion. I have been having a time of my life because it's really fun. Or I did watch a little bit of wrestling from Nepal.
Okay.
You never think and they set a ring on the Himalayas.
Oh
It's
wow.
insanely cool.
That sounds awesome. And I've watched Italian wrestling, and it's like you said. I tell you who I want to get on the show. I want to get that Wrestle Map guy on the show. He knows his stuff, and he's always showing different promotions from around the world. That's pretty much why I started up this Discord was to.
You should talk to him. I did from time to time. I write some articles for WrestleMap
Okay.
about Argentina. So you should really talk to him. He would love to be in your show.
Sure. We're going to, if he's willing, I'm more than willing because I'm like you. I'm very interested. I watch me some Russian wrestling, a few Russian feds I watch. The Argentina scene, again, I mean, not to blow smoke up your ass, but I was very impressed with it. Been very impressed. That's why I wanted to have you on. So it's truly been an honor. I hope to have you on again. And dude, keep doing what you're doing. Keep being a positive influence in wrestling. I hope this makes it to people, thousands of people, not for me, so they can know about the Argentina scene, to know how you guys are doing it for the love of the game. You get nothing but praise and support from Spooky Lou and WrestleRoni, and I appreciate the hell out of you, Mr. Kuma.
Thank you so much. I hope to be back. I'll try to see who speaks enough English to come with me and join up.
Hey, God bless you. I told you when we were speaking earlier today, I failed Spanish twice in high school. I've got a redneck accent, so hey, you can if you can understand me, you're on some Einstein level that you're not even aware of.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and I hope to all the listeners that you watch wrestling and enjoy wrestling, no matter where it comes from.
Thank you. That's the message of the show, man. Just enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, then watch Common Rider, right?
Yeah,
That's a discussion for me and you at a different time.
yes,
If you
definitely.
if you would hang on here with me after I wrap them up, so I can say my goodbyes to you for the night. But this has been
Okay,
WrestleRoni, Spooky Lou, Kuma, and check out some Argentina wrestling. I thank you again, Mr. Kuma.